All right, there we go. We're live. Hey guys, Joshua Meeks here with the PNW team. Just wanted to give you a quick training this week, talking about a couple things. The big focuses right now are certainly Brivity and lead generation on that, but also want to consistently talk about communication, which is negotiating the contracts and the contracts themselves. As you'll see over here, we are still working on this. Is taking a little bit of kind of research and development by Chantel and I and some other people on putting together some transaction tracking in the office for the listing leads specifically, and also putting a timeline up there for the contracts to essentially have kind of the life of the real estate transaction process via contracts specifically. Our goal is that all of you guys are experts in the negotiation tactics and strategies and scripts, but also eventually experts in the contracts themselves. As a reminder, if you ever don't know about contracts, you could also always feel free to contact myself or Chantel or even Dave Jordan on some of the bigger questions. If you haven't noticed yet, usually what happens if you ask me, I might have an answer. If I don't have an answer, then we'll ask Chantel. And if Chantel doesn't have an answer, she'll ask Dave Jordan, and we'll make sure that we get answers either way. Whether you've been in the industry 10 years or a month, I think it's really important to know that it's 100% okay to tell our clients, I don't have the answer for that, but I'll make sure that I get it for you. And that's always an acceptable answer. On that note, our goal is to have as many answers as possible throughout the contract, but also know that it's not necessarily our obligation or our job to understand fully every aspect of the transaction, but just to have the right resource and connection and vendor or partner that could help us out in that area. For example, we're looking at a title report today, and there's a lot going on in it. It's not necessarily our job or reasonable for us to know every part of it, every job, kind of like a title report, but to be able to reach out to a title company and say, hey, I have questions on this. To be able to reach out to a lender and say, hey, we have questions on this. To be able to reach out to a contractor or an inspector and to have questions on that. But we do want to always know, at the best of our ability, is the context of that situation, the context of every part of the transaction. And that's usually what our clients expect us to know. Not necessarily the details and the specifics of every part of the process, but to be able to give a general overview. It's that reason that we have implemented the transaction tracker, which we even reduced and try to simplify from around 12 steps to 10 steps right now, to make sure that it kind of serves as a guide for you as an agent and for your clients to be able to continually know where we are coming from the process, where we're currently at, and what's next in the process, and to be able to kind of bounce that with Chantel and I as the transaction coordinator and the team owner, to be able to know and to be able to give that peace of mind to our clients that, hey, I know where you're at, and that there's a larger team of people that are serving this transaction, and there's a lot of eyes on this transaction, knowing that as we're moving forward with a seller or buyer, even giving them the reassurance that, hey, just so you know, we talk about every single transaction every day at 9:30 a.m., and we want to make sure that quality control is there. And also inviting feedback throughout the process. It's my goal, it's my hope that as one of the principles within our company of trying to always make it better, that we are always asking our clients, hey, is there any way that we can improve this process for you? Is there any way that we can improve either our communication or our systems or anything else strategically that we could put in place to make it a simpler process, where it's not our job to understand everything. It is our job to evaluate the whole picture on a consistent basis and to say if there's partners that maybe aren't doing their job or that can improve their job, lenders, that we want to help them improve that. And if it's us, we want to help improve that too. I would also ask that you as agents, I'm specifically really hoping to get feedback on Brivity, on areas that we can continue to improve for lead generation, for lead conversion, areas where we can continually make it more easy and more simple for you. Specifically right now, we have implemented a trigger, what we would call a trigger on Brivity.com, is that any new leads now that come into the website are automatically put on an auto plan. This is one of the features that were implemented as an auto feature on conversion when we were using that system, and we just now got around to making sure that any new lead that comes into the Brivity system is put up on an automated drip campaign. Now, you might have hundreds of people currently in your lead database, so my encouragement to you is to go through that whole lead database. Again, make sure you're classifying all those people and selecting an auto plan for that person that would hopefully convert that lead. If you don't know that person at all, then there's probably no foul in putting them on an automated campaign that's going to start reaching out to them, so that once they start responding, it immediately cuts that auto campaign, because you've started the opportunity to have more of an organic conversation with that person that was maybe simulated or started through a Brivity in the first place. So please let me know how those automated campaigns are going. If you are at an open house, when you're at an open house and you put in your name.thepnwteam.com, so like joshua.thepnwteam.com, and then you go and find the property that you're hosting an open house at, add /open house to the end of it, that creates your open house platform for people to sign in. When they sign into that platform, as a reminder, it's going to automatically put them on a open house conversion plan to create a communication with them, to set up a search alert for them, to track their activities, and to give you also a checklist on what to do on how to convert that lead. So really a versatile tool. Please, please, please let me know how that process is going as you are finding that new leads are being put into Brivity, and what that process looks and feels like. Is it true to the PNW team? Are the steps there? And in order for that to take place, that means that we have to be signing into Brivity every single day to make sure that we are intuitively following up with the tasks that are integrated with that automatic or that action plan that we've put in place for that client, so that way we can see you convert as many leads as possible. I wanted to also take a minute to speak specifically into the inspection process. It's important for us to be able to, again, communicate, to be able to negotiate on our client's behalf, to understand contracts, and to maintain the culture of not just the company, but the experience of our clients, that they know that we're serving them with joy, that we're serving them with excellence, that we're serving them with passion, and that is what leads to referrals that come back to you so that you can continue to convert more deals. Specifically regarding inspections, wanted to take a minute to just preface and say, our goal is to always have inspectors that are doing a detailed, thorough job, and ideally those are inspectors that may even be bringing us back business. And that can be a hard cost-benefit analysis sometimes to make sure that if somebody's doing a really good job, they're probably going to have a high demand, whether it's a lender, inspector, or title company. And if they have a high demand, then it's probably harder to get leads from that person. But our utmost priority is to be people focused, and that means that even if we're not, even if being performance driven is in a secondary place as far as bringing leads back to us, as far as that vendor, title company, inspector, whatever it is, giving us back business, the primary focus is that they're doing a really good job. And as a benefit, it would be a sweet bonus if they're giving us business back. If they're not, if their primary objective of being a good vendor, a good partner at their job is there, then that's the most critical. That's the most important key. As far as the inspection process, as buyers, you have the opportunity to walk with somebody and to really contextualize for them the inspection within the rest of the big picture. Now, it's important to note when you're getting into contract that the inspection is a major contingency that gives you the opportunity to inspect the home and to give them one of four responses to the listing agent. You have a contractual ability to say, hey, either we love it, we're moving forward, we don't like it, we're terminating and getting our earnest money back, we do like it, but we need you to fix something or to give us monetary compensation for those items, or fourth, we need more time. And that's not a question, that's a statement that just says, hey, if we have additional facts that has been recommended for us to get more information from, then we have to get more additional information, and just give you notice that it's going to take an additional 5 business days in addition to whatever the previously agreed inspection timeline was regarding. As you're there with the inspector, there are some buyer's agents in this industry that they'll just kind of check out, do their own thing, the inspector runs around, and I think it's important for us not to do that. I think it's important for us to be engaged throughout the inspection process, for our buyers to see that we are concerned with them on what the process looks like. Doesn't mean we have to be following around the inspector on the roof, in the crawl space, and every little nook and cranny of the house, even though that's sometimes kind of fun to do. But it does mean that we need to be asking questions, being intuitive, taking notes. Whenever I'm at an inspection, I'll always have either a paper notepad or my iPad with me, and I'll be taking notes, things that might be a concern for me, things that the inspector is noting that might be a concern for them, and that way towards the end of the inspection, I kind of have the opportunity not just to leave it open-ended, but to recap with my buyer and say, hey, just like the transaction tracker, our goal is to always make sure that you know what the next step is of the process. And so I just want to take a minute to discuss with you. If I was in your position as a buyer, or as a buyer's agent, here's things that I may consider asking for. CO detectors, smoke detectors, home warranty, the furnace being serviced, or the wood stove being furnace, or the wood stove being serviced, or the roof or fascia or the foundation, whatever else might be of utmost importance. Whew. But taking notes on those things diligently, staying in tune with the inspector throughout the process, and giving our buyers a recap of that process. It's also super important to make sure that we're holding the inspectors accountable, that they are looking at every aspect of the house. Their job is to be inside the attic, making sure that they're evaluating what it looks like in there, to be underneath the house, looking at underneath the house what it looks like under there. And not just poking their head up, but literally crawling around and getting to every space where the inspector is able to fit. Evaluating the exterior and making sure that the siding is understood, that the condition of the roof, to the best of our ability, is understood. To make sure that plumbing and electrical and windows, that we have good understanding of the whole picture of the house. Now, just like us, that inspector's job is not to understand thoroughly every aspect of the house, but it's to give an overview of the condition, of the health, of the longevity of the home, and to recommend additional repairs or inspections as necessary. And it's also important that we take time with the inspector to make sure that our buyers aren't freaked out about the little things, right? Like if the furnace might at some point be dying, but it's currently living and it's healthy, then that's probably something a home warranty can cover. If the hot water tank has been around for a while, but it's currently working, that's probably something a home warranty can cover. If there are rats in the crawl space, that can be, things like that can be a really freaky thing for a buyer. But making sure that they understand, hey, the important thing is that the rats aren't getting in, that the crawl space is in healthy condition, that there aren't conditions that are affecting the living space of the home itself. So again, our job is to represent the best interest of our buyers, and that means keeping lenders accountable. That means negotiating on behalf of our buyers. That means holding inspectors accountable, holding title reps accountable. And sometimes it's not a fun job, right? Because we want to be able to be the nice guy, but in order to be the nice guy or gal, we have to take a position to negotiate on behalf of our buyers, even when that might create or accepts conflict with another party. Usually, usually as an agent, I'm very chill, very, agreeable with other parties. However, if I notice that somebody in the transaction is not representing the best interest of the buyer, I will absolutely have that hard conversation, have that fierce conversation and say, hey, look, this is my job, this is your job. My job is to represent the best interest of our client on the whole picture. Here's how you doing your job could help us do our job. So the representation that you guys offer buyers in this area, I truly believe that you guys are offering a level of service that nobody else is in this industry. That through people-focused, performance-driven service, you guys are offering a service that is really standing out in the Pacific Northwest, and giving your clients a reason to give business back to you. Hope you guys are doing good. Again, as a recap, make sure that you check out what Brivity is doing on a daily basis. Give me feedback so that we can continually kind of tweak that out for maximum lead generation and conversion, and setting you all up with tools and resources and training so that you can make the most of Brivity, so that you can be utilizing it in a way that is bringing you more leads with less work, for a happier life and more money at the end of the year. If there's any ways that I can serve you at all, feel free to shoot me a call, text, email, or anytime. And I look forward to checking in on your Brivity accounts and seeing how the activities that we're putting in place right now and the activities that you're putting in place at your open houses and throughout the week is able to bring more leads to you and more deals closed this year. Thank you guys for watching so much. I know that was a little bit longer, up to 15 minutes here. And if you're able to make it to the team training on Friday, I look forward to seeing you there. Talk to you soon.